Joe, could you have asked for a better performance from Tanaka tonight?
No, he was brilliant. He gave us everything he needed, and you can't ask for more than what he did tonight. And on a night that one run wins it, he didn't give up any.
Other questions? Wally and then Ken.
Joe, considering what happened Friday night and all the fallout after that, how difficult was it for you to turn the page and just manage this, without that being in your mind?
Well, as I talked about, this is life. I mean, this is what happens in life. It happens in the game as a player. It happens as a manager. It's happened before. It happens at home, with your wife and your children. This is life. I mean, this is what happens. Everything you do is not going to be perfect. And as I said, I'm always going to do my best, and that's what I do. But it's not always going to be perfect.
To your right, Joe. Ken.
Joe, two questions about Bird. Just first of all, was there any thought about pinch hitting against Miller there?
No. As I've said about Greg Bird, I think he's built for this park. I really do. And the thing about Miller is the splits are basically identical. I mean, lefties actually hit a little bit higher, and it was the same when we were here. So I chose to go with him. I chose to hit Head for Els because he's had really good at-bats off of Andrew Miller in his career, and that's what I chose to do.
And second, how good did you feel for Bird after everything he went through this year, the injuries, having?
Just the way he's played in the playoffs. I mean, he's and the way he finished up the year, I felt really good, and it's great to have him back healthy. It sure is.
I think Mike had a question, Alex, and then Bill.
Joe, just to go back to what I said, I mean, you got booed by like 48,000 people. How
Not
did you?
the first time,
right? I mean, what was it like to hear that from
Well,
fans?
I kind of expected it. I've seen him boo players and managers that have a lot more status than I do. I was prepared for it. I prepared my family for it. I told my kids what was going to happen. But it's life, and again, it's not going to change who I am. It's no fun to be booed, but they're passionate. Our fans are passionate, and they want to win. And they get upset when we don't win or if someone makes a mistake, in their eyes. So that's all part of it. But you get the good side of it, too, like tonight, the emotion Tuesday against Minnesota. So that's the trade-off.
Straight to your right, Joe.
Joe,
Bill.
what did you think of the catch Judge made in the 6th inning off Lindor?
Just a great catch. Ends up saving the game. Again, I've said all along about Aaron Judge, he's a complete player. It's just not a home run hitter. It's a guy that runs the bases, that plays very good defense, and that drives in a ton of runs and is extremely productive as a hitter. So that was another difference in the game.
George, straight to your right.
Who starts tomorrow night?
Semi.
Susan, and then John, and then we'll get over here.
Chapman said that he was really focused tonight, and when Frazier sort of made a mistake on that play, he said, I have to focus. What did you think of him tonight?
Well, I think he was great again. And Chappie's been in so many big games. He understands. Frazier dives for it and does everything he can to get the force out. It's not able to do it. But remember where Chappie was last year at the end of the year. He's been in these games.
John in the second row, Joe.
Did you go into that 8th inning or even the game thinking you were going to use Chapman for more than 3, or was it something you saw with Robertson?
No, I had him up when the inning started. So I figured I would go with Robbie as long as I felt that I could, because Chappie had thrown 2 innings before. And then when he brought in Chisenhall, it was Chapman's turn.
Brian, Joe.
Joe,
right.
it gets lost in the finish, but how big were the blocks that Sanchez made in the 3rd inning to keep
really good?
Third?
Really, really good. He did an outstanding job today, and I know, there was talk about, Romine caught his last start. There was 15 strikeouts, and, as I've said, this is our catcher, and there's a lot of times that he's really, really good, and there's going to be times where he has a bad day like anyone else, like any other catcher, but he was really, really good tonight.
Take 1 or 2 last ones, Roger, on your right.
Joe, you were very candid yesterday about how badly you felt about some of the decisions and the way that
Yeah.
it went in Game 2. How good do you feel about the decision to use Tanaka in Game 3?
Well, it was kind of what we planned all along. It's discussed as a staff, and again, it's a player going out and do what he's capable of doing. If we lose 3-1, I'm going to be questioned, even if he pitches a really good game. So the success is what he did, not what I did.
We'll take a last one from Joel.
Two things on Tanaka, Joe. One, he's been brilliant the last 2 starts. When he's at that level, why?
Well, as I said, when his fastball has more life to it, everything gets better, and it did tonight. We saw some 93s, some 94s, and I thought it had more life, and I thought his split was obviously really, really good, important to these left-handed hitters, and his slider was good to the right-handers.
The other thing is, when you've been involved in a lot of elimination games, player, manager, does the belief system that something is doable, not just today, but for the rest of the series, start in Tanaka's hands, so to speak? That you can do this, he's got to kind of put up this kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, I think every win starts in the pitcher's hand, your starting pitcher, and how he does, and how he goes out and attacks the hitter and gets them out and gives you a chance to win. I would argue, I know he had 15 strikeouts the other day. That's been his best performance, against a great hitting club that had momentum, and he was able to shut him down. So that's the best performance that I've seen from him the whole time.
Joe, thanks.
Yes.
Thanks very much, Joe.
Go
ahead, Wally.
I think Chapman threw 33 pitches tonight. I know you haven't talked to him yet, but from what you know of him, do you anticipate you'll have him tomorrow?
I hope so. Yeah, I'll see. Obviously, he's very strong, and we'll see what he's got.
All right. Thank you, Joe. I think Luis Severino